welcome to Retrotainment. Back here with my co-host, capital C, capital O, Greg. How are you doing, buddy?
What's happening, homie?
Nothing much, nothing much. We're joined again for another Christmas film by the host of the Sherlock Reel and part of the Retrotainment recast.
I'm
That's
your
not what we're
Christmas
doing
gift,
here.
lads. I'm your Christmas gift. I'm here all month.
He's here all month. He's been in every episode so far. We'll have to see if he makes it to the last episode. We'll see.
It'd be rude to ruin a bad thing, the good thing, wouldn't it?
We'll see how he performs here on this film. If he doesn't live up to scratch, then he might have to miss the last episode. But we'll see.
We might have to set Turbo Man after him.
Yeah. If anyone hasn't seen this film, it's obviously a classic Arnie film. All action all the time, except a lot less swearing and a lot more kid oriented. It's Jingle all the way.
I mean, this was kind of a throwback to Kindergarten Cop, wasn't it? For him to go back to do kind of a kids movie.
Yeah, it's a bit more lighthearted.
This was the era. This was the era of Last Action Hero and all that, wasn't it?
Was it not well after that?
Been around that time.
I don't know. It was released on the 16th of November in 1996 in the States.
Was it 96?
Yeah,
that would have been around Last
I was
Action
thinking
Hero.
this was in and around the 2000s.
No, 96. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been Last Action Hero and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last Action Hero's quality as well.
Yeah. Obviously, you've got two pretty big names in this, to be honest. Like, obviously, Arnie, a huge name, and Sinbad's a pretty big name, especially around that time.
You enjoy watching Sinbad in this until you realise that the studio actually passed over Joe Pesci to hire Sinbad for this role.
Yeah, it's bad juju, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
I think
Joe
Sinbad
Pesci
does it very well, though, as well.
Yeah, he does, but Joe Pesci would have brought it up an extra level.
Joe Pesci's just a machine for those kind of roles.
Yeah, no, he is, but I think Sinbad did very well in this, and this is the kind of role that this is what Sinbad used to take. Like, this is all his roles really were this, wasn't it?
True. Yeah.
Obviously, another star came out of this in Jamie, who went on to be young Anakin.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, what's the name?
Hayden Christensen.
No.
Oh, young Anakin.
Young Anakin. I usually have it, but we're recording at 10 o'clock at night and my brain is fried.
Yeah, I don't know that he went on to do a whole lot more after that, to be honest. I think that was kind of the peak.
I'm going to just call out a random name sometime during the show, and that'll be the name.
Well,
that's it.
everyone can be on the edge of their seats until then.
Or what'll happen is we'll get a message at about 3 a.m.
He'll have woken up, yeah. We always take a quick look at the ratings. This is probably our worst rated film, like, combined.
It was always gonna be
48 critics, and not a whole lot of critics, so it's not a very good pool of it, but 19%, which I think is a little unfair.
No, it's like, I rewatched it there today. You can see why it's that low.
Yeah, I think 19% is probably a little unfair. The audience score is also quite low. The audience score is 38%, which is probably, I'd put it in and around like that mid 30s to 40s sort of thing. That's where I'd put it.
Yeah.
Not at a critic score though. There's far too much wrong with it. I mean, like, the reindeer's just shy of talking.
Yeah, but it's a Christmas film, so like that's stuff like that's quite normal as well.
You got it.
I got the name.
Got it. Who is it? Go on, Carl.
Jake Lloyd.
There you go. That's who it is.
I call shenanigans on this. He googled that. You could see it in his glasses.
I don't know. He's pretty good at getting them on the spot. Box office wise, it did quite well though. 129.8 million, which is pretty good. Considering
a lot of that, I'd say, came off the name
Arnie
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
100%.
A lot of this. This it's a fun film. I don't disagree with the fact that it's got low ratings, because I remember it fondly because I watched it as a kid, so I have very fond memories of it. But the truth is that it's not particularly great.
It was Chris Columbus who wrote it, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
Yes,
I think it's Chris Columbus who wrote it.
It could have been, but it's a good little enjoy. Like, you do enjoy it as you're watching it. I think it actually ends quite well, which is normally where films fail. Like this, like seeing parts 1 and 2 aren't great on this, and then you get to number 3, like the closing acts of like part 3, and I think part 3 is really good.
The last half hour.
Yeah, like I think they did really well there, which is usually where films end up failing. So they did.
I mean,
like, they went the opposite of that.
They had a couple of big actors as cameos in this. Dan Aykroyd was in it. Oh, sorry, not Dan Aykroyd. Sorry, not Dan Aykroyd. John Belushi.
Yeah.
I think Big Show's in it as well, isn't he?
Big Show is in it, yeah, but he wouldn't have been an actor at the time. They had the guy from the guy who plays the elf in Bad Santa in it as well. He plays the elf in this as well.
And then they have the DJ is he was the principal in the Sabrina. Sabrina.
Oh, Sabrina, yeah, he's the principal in Sabrina, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got he does have a good amount of stuff under him as well.
Oh, he does, yeah. Although he's a great character. He's a pretty good character actor.
96, maybe he didn't.
That's Sabrina.
Yeah, no, but that's what I mean. Yeah. I think he was, he was doing Sabrina then, but I don't think he had a whole lot else under his belt at that time.
I don't think I've seen him in anything before that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He does a few bits after that because he got that fame from there. But I love how this opens with you're watching Turbo Man and Booster on the telly, and it's just like this is Power Rangers through and through, isn't it?
How do you not get fucking sued for this?
Yeah, like it's so clearly Power Rangers, and even the little
the alien guys,
the henchmen, they're basically like they have the Power Ranger colors and everything. Like it's just, and it's that cheesy early 90s, loads of flips, loads of action, but the action is actually terrible. Like it looks awful.
It's a bit of crack, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. You loved it, like as a kid. Like I was a huge Power Rangers fan, but I mean, like you look back on it and you're like, yeah, it's pretty crap, but you still love
awful.
it,
It's still going though.
Yeah, but going. I doubt it's as bad as that now anymore. I haven't watched it in years. I doubt
I don't know. They've just.
I doubt the fight scenes are as bad.
Completely off the point in any way from what we're watching, but I mean they've just kind of rebooted a new season of it by bringing in every single Power Ranger series from before. So like they have the original Mighty Morphin back again.
I'd say I'd say the fight scenes look a lot better now. Like that's what I'm kind of talking about here. The fight scenes are very similar to it. They're real choppy and real like this is bad. But yeah, as a kid, you loved it, and that's the thing. Like the kid Jamie and this is loving it. He's like jumping up around and everything, having the best time watching it.
Great crack, so it is.
Yeah, and then we get the typical story of
the workaholic dad.
Yeah, like stay-at-home mother, workaholic dad, always late for stuff. I'll make it. I promise I'll make it to this one, and then he doesn't make it.
Do you notice it's nearly very similar to the start of Hook?
Yeah, it is. It's and this was a typical trope of films back then. One parent was the workaholic, and then the other one was the great stay-home parent and stuff.
I'd say he was in a well-paying job here as well. He's obviously dealing with mattresses.
Yeah, like he seems to be like kind of the owner sort of thing there, because everyone else is at the Christmas party and he's up working.
Just remember, you're my number one customer.
You're my number one customer until he says it to his wife and he's like, "Uh-oh,
I'm in trouble."
Yeah. Oh no, I got caught. But he goes down to get to this karate tournament, and obviously. I'd say you weren't too happy with seeing this, Greg, when he pulls into that side in beside all the cars to drive up. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes it. Oh,
Jesus, no, it does my head in.
You're right, cheeky
stuck in
bastard.
Traffic.
Yeah.
I was delighted when he got pulled over.
Yeah. Now, your man's a bit of a, the police officer, you could have just given him a ticket and sent him on his way. He's a bit of a dick to make him get out and do the,
I mean, like, he's like, I'm in a hurry. Like, I understand that.
Yeah. But I mean, like, get out, do the walk the line, put the hand on the nose, all of that, then do the alphabet, but do it backwards. Yeah. And
it's impossible to do it backwards.
It's not, you can do it, but it is tough. Like you have to constantly run it through your head forwards to do it backwards. But he ends up being late to it. Well, not just late to it, like it's over. He gets there and it's getting swept up and everything. Now, thankfully, it's been recorded by his next door neighbor. Ted, is
the slimiest bastard you'll ever meet.
He's a proper slime ball, isn't he?
Oh man, though, like he's getting presents and everything, like.
Yeah, he's a proper. He's all the housewives seem to love him, but he's a real slime ball, isn't he?
He's definitely venturing from house to house.
Yeah,
he's doing a Pat Mustard on it.
Taking after your namesake, Ted, huh?
Yeah, but like he talks it like his kid says that they got divorced, like he got divorced from his mother, and you're kind of thinking, yeah, this divorce is because he was cheating, like 100%, isn't it?
And that's why he's spoiling the kid.
Yeah, and you never see the mother in it at all. Like,
I imagine she's gone and left the kid.
Just
gone, so maybe it's she's cheated.
No, I think it's him. He seems to be the grease ball here. Yeah. But he gets home, and he's like, Jamie, I'm really sorry, I missed it. And he's putting the karate belt on and everything, has it around his head, and he's doing all the.
Remember, he does the kick there. He
crane
him in the face.
I like that though, because it's a throwback to Karate Kid. He's doing the crane kick and everything.
And then Jamie's kind of like, ooh.
Yeah, whoa. Yeah. And then he's like, listen, I'll get you anything you want. You tell me what you want. And I love this. Like, Jamie rattles off the entire ad, like.
Battery's not included.
Battery's not all the way up to the battery's not included. Oh, it's just so good. And like as a kid, you kind of, you watched so much television and those ads were on constantly. You kind of did know them off by heart.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's even some ads now that I know.
Oh yeah, but I loved it. Like he goes back into the wife and he's down there and he's like, "Oh, it was great. We were getting on along great." And she's like, "Yeah, and you bought that toy from him." And he's like, "Yeah."
I love the camera pan to his face. He's like,
yeah. He's like, yeah. She's like, good, because it's going to be impossible to get. And it's when they're just going to sleep, and again the face goes to the complete startled, and she's like, it's going to be impossible to get now. It's so good. And then the next morning he's going out, and obviously Jamie's like, no, where are you going? It's Christmas Eve. Like, we have to go to the parade and everything. And she's like, you cannot be going to work. And he's smart here because he comes over.
This is like, brilliant, yeah.
He's like, I left it at the office. I have to go collect it. And she's like, yeah, that could happen. He's always in the office, so yeah, like that's probably fairly true.
That's well believable.
Yeah, it's 100% believable that's where he'd have left it. But obviously that's not where he left it, because he gets into town and there is none of these toys left. And I loved, he says to the guys in the shop, where's the Turbo Mans? And like they all just start laughing at him, and they're pulling in the customers and like, this guy wants a Turbo Man.
Yeah, and then he grabs them by the scruff, and they're like, oh. Sorry.
that woman just left with the last one. I mean, if she drives off pretty quick, but I mean, if you saw a guy that size running you down, you'd be like, yeah, I'm getting out of here.
He catches up to her and he buys it off her.
No, he doesn't.
He buys the bag off her, and it turns out to be Booster. He gives her 3 times the money. No, she was like, get away from me. He's like, I'm not a robber. And he's like, oh, do you want my phone number?
No, it's when he sees her drive off in the car with the doll in the back of the car.
That's good. That's later on, is it not? Because the first one, he gives you 3 times the money for the bag. It turns out to be Booster.
No, they keep trying to sell him Booster. And
no, because he buys Booster off the lady in the middle of the street to try to give him his phone number.
I don't think so. I don't. Maybe
he
does.
The little small one, when he comes out, he's looking around. He's like, "Where is she? Where is she?" And then she's walking.
No, well, I'm talking about your one that actually did buy it, and he sees it in the car, and he's running her down.
Yeah,
she's having none of that.
Yeah, that comes just after he buys it off you one.
Yeah, and then I love just before that though. He's outside the toy store, and this is when we meet Myron.
Myron's the man.
Myron is insane. Like he's even choking your one outside the store, and they're like, everyone's kind of like, dude, you need to
calm down.
Like, you are literally choking some woman out here. Stop.
This is a guy you'd expect to see climbing a clock tower.
Yeah, his whole thing, and he's a big conspiracy nut. Like, it's all this and it's all that, and I'm a postman. It's like, yeah, all right, man, settle down.
What was it? I studied psychology in community college for 1 semester.
Yeah, one semester. But they're all laughing at them, and then Arnie goes off. And he's like, I'll just ring home and tell. Like, I'm gonna ring home and tell the wife I haven't got it. He rings home, and obviously he rings home, and she doesn't answer because she's gone to have a shower. So Ted answers, and he's eating the cookies.
Have you noticed the weird thing about this is Ted just let himself into that house?
Yeah, well, his kid is already there playing.
No, I know that, but he just lets himself in.
Yeah,
and he does it on more than one occasion.
Yeah, he's a weird guy.
That's an American trope, though.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like, the two kids are friends. They're playing. I mean, those two kids are just beating the shit out of each other behind them.
It's so funny. Hiya.
No, I'm Turbo Man. No, I'm Turbo Man. It's like, well,
like, you can clearly see Ted's agenda here is to get into
his head,
into Arnie's wife.
Yeah, well, and then that doesn't work, and then he's trying to get into Arnie's head, because you can hit, like, on the phone. He's like, these cookies. I love that. He's out on the street. Put the cookie down now. That's so good.
He's like, get my wife, and she's like, oh, she's in the shower. I'll go and get her.
No.
In the real typical Arnie fashion.
Yeah, no one else could have delivered those lines the way Arnie does.
No,
nobody. But they hear about the late delivery of the Turbo Man, and Myron Myron's trying to make this super team between them, and he's like, no, I'm all right, Myron. I'm just gonna go on my own. So they race to their cars. He gets in his Jeep and he reverses up, and of course,
he hits the bike.
Police bike behind him. I'll go out and pick that up, and the little wing mirror falls off. You knocked off its little wing mirror.
I mean, like, theoretically, the policeman shouldn't park behind somebody like that when it's in between two cars.
No, he shouldn't. So he probably is in the wrong, but it doesn't help that it's the same police officer. Yeah.
Policeman never in the wrong, though.
Yeah, and it doesn't help it's the same guy that has caught him the day before speeding down the side of the traffic, like.
Yeah.
So he gets there late, and then Myron's ahead of him, and it's this, like, they've got the ball, and it's like, yeah, it's gonna be a lotto. You'll each get one ball. We'll call it out, and it's gonna be double the price. You're like, you slimy bastard.
I mean, it's genius.
It is, and it does work. People are gonna pay it. There's a lot of people there without a Turbo Man, though. For something that's sold out, it's really, like, really popular.
That's
the number one
Office,
toy.
We always talk about The Office on Recast. This is exactly what Dwight does in one of the Christmas episodes. Yeah. He goes out and he buys all the unicorn people dolls.
It's so funny. And it's just random people walking in.
Tells it at double the price, You gotta make some money.
I mean, it's genius. Like, you're seeing people doing it. Like, Turbo Man in this is what the PlayStation 5 is now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
this was actually Chris Columbus wrote this movie because of it was something in the early 90s that was selling out major.
Stretch Armstrong or actually
Beanie Babies, or I think it was Beanie Babies.
It was something,
mainly in the States. So I think there was a big craze for it. So they all got sold out, and this is why the movie was written, for commercialism.
Yeah. What I love here is that you get widespread panic, and eventually the ball just the whole bucket of the balls just gets thrown in the air, and it's just scrambling around.
I love this, though. The two lads that are holding the balls just look at each other and just fuck them in the air.
Yeah. I love it, though. Like, Arnie gets one. Myron manages to get it off him, and he's like, ha ha ha, and he's dancing around.
He pepper sprays him, doesn't he?
Yeah. And then Arnie's just like, he got two.
That's the one line. That's the one line I always use from this movie. He got two. He got two.
And then
get the postman.
Everybody get the postman. And, like, he chases the ball around, and obviously it's this little bouncy ball, and it bounces forever. Like, it just does not stop. Down the stairs, around the corner, all the way down to some little kid's lap. In between
the tiniest bit of glass.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, this is the ugliest child that you ever see.
Yeah, I think every time I've watched it, and I'm like, oh, it lands with that little kid, and they're like, hello, little girl. I'm like, whoa. I don't remember it. I'm always like, was this always a girl? I don't know about this.
I always used to think it was a boy.
It's so, like, and it's so weird because you're not even guaranteed to win if you have that ball. It's not like that was a definite winner.
I mean, you have to be in it to win it, though.
Yeah, you have to be in it to win it. But I mean, following the kid into the little play place, hunting the kid down into the, and I love it. Him going through the little thing, very similar to Die Hard, where he's in the vents because Arnie's so big and the thing's like a child's yoke. And then across a little bridge, down the slide and everything, and then he's trying to alternate this red ball for that one, and then he goes over and all the women just are battering him with the handbags.
Yeah, because he puts his hand on the kid.
I mean, this is what I mean. Like, it's one ball, you have a chance of winning by getting that ball.
But he has no chance of getting that doll otherwise.
Yeah, but you also, you'd have to be smart enough to go, probably shouldn't be chasing this little child around.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
And this was the 90s, so it was a bit more innocent.
I think, well, you say that, but the women are even calling them they're like pervert.
It's true.
And I mean,
it's true.
Yeah, they're not wrong. That's what you would think. This weird guy, especially Arnie, not just some guy, some guy Arnie size crawling around. You're like, there's something up here.
We do know of Arnie's sex history, so I mean,
yeah,
he's not the most trustworthy guy.
Yeah,
I made to say, well, we're getting kicked off YouTube tonight.
But he doesn't get the doll there, and he's walking back a bit dejected, and he bumps into the dodgy Santa with the little Christmas elf. Now, in my mind, this is just Bad Santa.
Yeah, this is where Bad Santa came from, I'd say.
I don't know if this is wherever it comes from, but it's the same actor who plays the elf. It's obviously not the same actor playing Bad Santa, but my theory is, this is these are the same universe,
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it would be interesting if we watch Bad Santa again, if they have a Turbo Man somewhere in the background.
I've watched Bad Santa every year, and I can't say I've ever noticed it. Can't say I've ever looked for it either, though. So maybe this year I'll keep an eye out for it.
Or did he ever go to that factory?
But your man's like, I'll sell you this $300 for a Turbo Man, and he's like, $300? All right. So they go down to this dodgy warehouse that's full of all these dodgy looking Santas
and elves.
Yeah, and he gives him the box, gives him the $300, and he's like, "Don't open that." He presses the box, to hear the doll talk
in Spanish.
And he's like, it's educational. And then he opens the box, and it's just the head, the arm, everything falls out. He's like, "Give me my money back." This is in bits. Yeah. Some assembly required. Hey, you're not getting that money back. I'm not going to hit a Santa Claus. You don't call a guy Arnie size a chicken and make fun of him in front of everyone. You know it's going to go badly.
What was he called him a crook, or called them crooks first?
Yeah, he called them a crook. Then they started making fun of him as a chicken.
Yeah.
And he pulls the beard back and then doesn't let the beard go, but lets his hand follow the beard in. And your man straight as a plank up overhead, clonks into the wall.
Pins it, yeah.
Get him. The Ninja Santa jumps down. He just clocks that lad out.
I love how the Ninja Santa has 2 candy cane nunchucks.
Yeah, and he just picks up the big candy cane and just clonks them out.
And then you get Big Show.
Yeah, he thinks, I've got this in hand, and then the big man comes out. Obviously, Big Show, very in shape, jacked Big Show.
I had to look at it twice or 3 times. Like, is it him? Isn't it him? It's when he does the thing with the eyes.
It's when he does the smile. You can see it, the smile as well. You're like, that's Big Show. Yeah, I love this though.
The mask out his tattoo in it as well.
Yeah, I love this though. They get the little Santa on the top of Arnie's head, and then Big Show goes to punch him, but he crouches down and just blasts the little small Santa all the way across.
Just flying across it.
Yeah. And then obviously, the fuzz show up to shut down this operation.
Yeah, it's the fuzz. Run.
I loved, he looks over and he sees the little toy badge. He just takes it out and he's like, "This is the sloppiest operation I've ever seen. I've been working this for 3 years."
It's great quick thinking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very much so.
Terrible police work.
Don't think it would work in real life.
No, terrible police work. But,
go arrest somebody and just walks off.
Yeah, he goes off to the diner again, and he's, or sorry, no, he doesn't go off to the diner. He goes onto the phone and he ends up shouting at Jamie because Jamie won't get the mother. Yeah. He just keeps telling them, you promised you'd be at this, and Turbo Man says you should always keep your promise. He's like, I don't want to hear, I've had it up to here with Turbo Man. And I can understand this is frustrating. He's had a pretty bad day.
How much do you reckon he spent? So he gives you 3 times the amount for the booster doll, right? Yeah, giving those lads 300 quid. Now, whether he got that back is a different story.
No, I don't think he did, because the fight breaks out and then the police show up. So I don't think he gets that back.
No,
he's about 400 quid down, if not more.
Yeah,
I'd say you're talking easily 400 quid down. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus,
and nothing to show for it.
And then hitting the bike.
Yeah, he's had a bad day here. Being beaten up by a lot of women, calling him a pervert and stuff. It hasn't been a good day. He's sick of Turbo Man, and his kid just won't shut up about Turbo Man. So, he lets holler at him, and, he feels bad straight away, but Jamie just hangs up the phone. And that's, he He goes off to the diner.
This is where it gets in his head as well, isn't it? This is where he's on the phone, and Ted has named the reindeer Ted, or the kid has named the reindeer Ted.
Yeah, after his dad.
He's like, Mom's over petting Ted.
Yeah, not the kid could have elaborated a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
But he goes into the diner, and again, who's there? Myron. Irishing up that coffee.
I mean,
as you would.
That man's in work.
Yeah, well, Myron's out on his postal route, but he doesn't seem to have delivered any of the post. But I like this. They hear on the radio. We've got this competition, and you can win a Turbo Man. And he manages to ring in. He happens to be the first caller in. Myron rips out the telephone.
I got the answer. No, you don't.
And then I like, he's like choking Myron out, and Myron's like with the phone that's disconnected, just shouting 911 into the phone. Like, that's gonna work.
You should just hit him in the head with it.
Yeah. I don't know if that'd stop him, to be honest. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
But the guy who owns the diner is just like, all right, I'm gonna get these two out of here. That radio station's just down the road. So they just start running, and Myron's throwing the letters everywhere to try and lighten the bag that he's carrying.
And then you see Arnie going along Tanner Picks and
just naming them, and then he gets in and banging on the window. I've got the answer. Gets in.
The man rings the police.
Tells him, the man rings the police, and he's like, I won, yeah. And Myron shows up, and he's like, you're too late, I've won. And Myron pulls out this little thing, and he's like, I got this. And you're like, what? A package? He's like, yeah, this is a bomb, a homemade bomb. And everyone's pretty terrified.
No, I work for the postal service. They get posted all the time. I just kept one in case I ever needed it.
Yeah, I do like that he's just holding it, and obviously they're all terrified. And eventually, eventually he drops it.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh shit.
I love Arnie here. It shows his real actions. Like, hit the deck.
Yeah, but then it's the little the wind up music box, and they just look at him, and he's like, all right, I lied. And your man's just like, there's no doll here. You will get one in the future. It's a voucher. So,
I mean, he says that he says eventually, but he does not say eventually on that radio post.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't say that. But that's the terms and conditions.
You get it you get it when you get it.
Yeah, but he's like, did you call the police? Yes, of course I did. Two men broke into my office. Of course I called the police. And look at the size of Arnie. Of course I called them when you showed up, man.
Don't eat me.
Yeah. But the police get there, and again it's the same police officer again. I
love this though. They catch Myron, and Arnie slips out the back.
Yeah, and he's like,
he goes to go down the stairs. Pulls
the same trick again. Myron does. I got a bomb. Tell him I'm crazy. Yeah, he's crazy. And you're kind of like, is Arnie just playing along? And then you're like, this guy's faked that he's had a bomb once, choked some poor woman, and like, this guy's pretty insane. Like, yeah, like you're not lying here when you say this. And I love this. He puts it down, and he's like, we're gonna walk out. You guys are gonna do that, and they get out. And I love this. But the police officer rips up, and he goes, "We've been duped." Rips it open.
What we call the bomb squad. I've been on the bomb squad for 10 years.
Yeah, we've been duped. Rips it open, and then the big explosion. I love this. Myron turns around, and he goes, "That was actually a bomb. This is a sick world. It's a sick world we live in. Sick people." And you're like, dude, you were just threatening him that it was a bomb. Like,
I love how it doesn't kill anybody though. It's just
it just burns his hands a little bit.
And he's black, but it blew up, and you can see it blow up.
In his hands, like it's right up at his face as well. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. So other than a few burnt hands, he's all right. But
how long were you in the bomb squad for?
But Arnie gets home, and like in the window he sees Ted putting the star on the tree. And that's just wrong.
You'd have walked in.
That's shitty.
Yeah, you don't put a star on somebody else's tree. That's
he also came home the night before to Ted putting up lights.
He did, yeah. Ted's really overstepping here. But
dick.
And obviously he can't see it, but he sees Liz in the window as well. But Liz is obviously telling him, no, take that down. That's his job,
That's the big man's job.
Yeah, don't go putting the star up. But he just sees the two of them standing there, and he comes up. He's heard earlier in the film, Ted saw him. He's like, I got his Turbo Man months ago. It's nestled safely under our tree. And
his voice actually goes through your brain in the time he walks from the garden to the door. You hear it 3 times.
Yeah.
Safely under our tree.
But Arnie decides, you know,
Fuck
I'm gonna steal that Turbo Man. Fuck Ted, he's a dick. But you know, he has the doll.
It must just be a Ted thing, Carl. What do you think?
Could be,
so.
you know, maybe. But you know,
Look at the smugness.
You know, he does. You know, he thinks twice about it when he gets out. He's like, "Am I really going to steal from a child at Christmas?" I mean, it's okay to steal from the child any other time of the year, but at Christmas now, come on, guys, you don't steal from a child at Christmas.
Man does what man has to do.
And you know, it all would have been fine. He goes to put it back, but that feckin' reindeer just causing trouble.
How is Ted allowed to have a reindeer?
Untied, like not tied up or anything, just wandering around.
No.
But it chases him into the house.
Dangerous.
Yeah, it chases him into the house, and eventually, you know, a kind of fire starts. Now it's not a big fire, but you know, enough to set the fire alarm off and everything. And Ted and Liz come over and they're like, "What are you doing?" And he has the Turbo Man in his hand. Now, this is where, you know, he could have been a bit more quick thinking. He could have said, you know, I came home and I saw
the fire.
I saw the smoke, so I ran in here. I remembered this morning you told me it was nestled under your tree, and I was like, "Oh, his kid's gonna be really upset if that's not there." But he doesn't think of that. He just, you know, blanks.
It's not what it looks like.
It's not what it looks like, you know. And then,
I mean, that would have made for the film to be very good if you had to use that quick thinking there and went.
Yeah,
because now it looks like he's the hero.
Yeah, but I mean, he still doesn't have the doll then, I suppose. So you kind of need him to. You need him to get caught here. And I like this. He's out sitting outside. The reindeer finally breaks through and he's just like, "You picked the wrong day." Clocks out this reindeer. No bother to him.
I love how they just leave him in the house, though.
No, he brings him out the back again and starts sharing a drink
but they
with him.
leave Arnie in the house. They're like, "Oh, you drive us to the parade to Ted."
Yeah, but you know, like they seem kind of like that, you know. At the same time, as you were saying earlier, they just walk into each other's houses. There doesn't seem to be much of a weirdness in that to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, she says, "Can you drive me and Jamie to the parade?" Off they go to the parade, and the kids get out first because they see their friend. And they run off with him.
I mean, those kids are only 10, maybe.
If even, yeah, probably younger. Yeah, probably younger. But
I'm
like
6 or 7 or 8, yeah.
I'm not 100% not letting my kids out of the car to run across to somebody at a parade.
Oh God, no.
No, but you know, it served its purpose in this film because you know they needed to get the Ted and Liz alone here for this, and this is when he goes full on creep.
What happens? He goes full ham here.
He goes full ham and gets a face full of eggnog. Good luck to him.
He goes full Ellis.
Yeah,
he does go full Ellis.
He's full Ellis here. Yeah, but you know, while all this is happening, Arnie has decided he'll drive up, and of course, as he's running around trying to find the kids, he runs into the police officer who's holding hot coffee this time.
Now, this again is not Arnie's fault here.
No, your man turns around and they bump into each other.
Yeah.
Arnie's walking, but running, and
yeah, it's a crowded area, so probably he shouldn't be running the way he is, and he's a pretty big guy. Like, chances are if you're that big and running around, you're gonna knock into somebody. But yeah, It's not really his fault. But you know, this is what, the 4th time in 2 days
yeah,
that he's had a run in with this cop.
Technically, the bomb had nothing to do with Arnie.
No, but he was there, you know. So it's 4 times in 2 days where he's run into this guy, and it's like, yeah, this guy's really getting on my nerves. I'm gonna arrest him. But you know,
so
Arnie has to run, and he runs into this building that doesn't look like there's much going on, and they just start pulling stuff onto him. "Ah, you're the guy. Yes, don't worry. You've read your instruction manual. There's a few just different changes, and don't worry about that. We worked out all the malfunctions, and you know, your man looks like he'll be able to, you know, walk again and everything." And you're
what
like,
happens? Yeah, he had brain function today.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
What? That's a good thing. I love how your man's like real happy. That's a good thing. And he
How did
just
this
shake his head
happen
at him.
in final preparation?
It's pretty bad, isn't it? You're assuming it's probably the jetpack that messed up.
Definitely.
You'd have to assume.
That's pretty dangerous. But I love this. You know, he sees the other lad putting on the booster thing, and he's like, "You're a booster," and he's like, "Yeah, and who the hell do you think you are?"
He's another good actor. Is it Wallace Shaw again?
I don't think it was Wallace Shaw, was it?
I can't remember.
I don't think it is, but I love this. Like they go out on the parade, and he is loving life, and it's like wave, and he's just waving at everyone. Hi, this is great. He's like, this is a great old time, and he's up there, and he's Turbo Man, and he looks the part as well. Obviously, he's big old Arnie. He looks the part, and he obviously doesn't know what the plan is. And your man's like, wave, pick up the doll that's there. Like, do what you're meant to do. And he's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he, cheering when he has the doll, like jabbing it in the air. Yes. Yes.
Giving it the old Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. He's like, don't forget, you have to pick a kid, Oh, I get to pick a kid. And he's like looking around. And obviously, he's going to pick his own kid,
Yeah. I love how Ted's kid's like, oh, he's looking at me.
Yeah. And then he points at him. Well, the two of them are standing beside each other. You're both young kids. You're like, no, you're definitely going to try and make the claim until, he says it, Jamie. And he's like, he knows my name. Which, when you think about it, if you were that aged, and, like this superhero that you watch on telly and he's in the parade and everything knew your name, you'd be like, whoa, this is a big deal.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the background, you see the mentor getting taken off.
Plowed out of it by old Myron.
Yeah, well, you don't see who it is, but you know who it is.
Yeah, you know who it is. You hear the voice. And then, Jamie's up there. They give him the Turbo Man, and he's about to tell Jamie, he's like, how did you know my name? And he's like, well, you see, Jamie, I'm. And then Dementor swings down, which is planned. The plan was for Dementor to swing down.
Yeah, it's nearly like a replica of the fight you see at the start.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, Myron sticks the landing pretty well. It's
Myron's a king. That's why
it's a moving float. He hasn't practiced that swing down on the rope.
True. Maybe he has. Myron he's a mystery.
Maybe, but he lands it pretty solidly. And then I love they even have the fist that like flies off and flies back onto his. You're just like, imagine how much it must have cost to get that costume put together for that parade.
Yeah.
And like that's not even talking about Arnie's suit, but the fight scene breaks out and it's all this, and then I love this, they're like, oh, there's the mentor, and everyone's booing him, and he gives them the old, and they're like,
screw you.
Is that part of the script? And you're like, yeah, no, definitely not.
100% not doing that.
No, but the fight breaks out, and he knocks Booster off the float, and he's like, nobody likes you, Booster. And apparently nobody does like Booster, but all the kids start killing Booster. They're battering this poor fella.
He's turtling up, he is.
Yeah, what's wrong with Booster? Why do they all hate Booster so much?
He's a pink dog.
Yeah, but he's like, he's the sidekick. He's not going to be everyone's favorite.
What is it? He's a pink saber-tooth dog.
Yeah, he's a big saber-tooth dog. But, he might not be the main hero, but you don't usually hate the secondary hero either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a bit of a, they really hate him because they all go to town on him.
Bastards. Little bastards.
Yeah. But, like the fight scene kind of breaks out, and, Jamie keeps telling them all the stuff to use. Use your discs. He's firing the discs at his head. There's loads of these, and he misses loads of them. Where are they going off to? Straight into the crowd.
Bouncing off the ground.
Yeah. And I love it, the slow-mo of him getting conked in the big old brain.
That's in a jar of water.
Yeah. And then it looks like he's won the day. Jamie runs off, and then he follows the minions jump on his back.
I love this. Well, the minions come out just before it, and Jamie goes to run, and the mentor's like, stop there. And he karate kicks him in the balls.
Yeah. But he batters the little minions around, throwing them around. They're just little.
I love how you hear them saying to him, though, do you not know the choreography?
Yeah, he just batters them. Yeah, well, look at the size of this guy. Doesn't matter if he knows the choreography. He's gonna batter anyone that gets around him. Like he chases Jamie up onto the roof and up onto the Christmas tree lights. And I love the police officer when Liz is chasing after. That's my kid, and he's like, oh, he's doing a great job. He's not part of the act.
Yeah, and then the sheer look of fear, and the cop is like,
uh-oh,
something not right here.
Yeah, but they go up there, and during this time Arnie's using the jetpack to fly around, and he goes all the way up, and he gets pretty high up in the air, and then it fails and back all down.
Yeah, I love his sheer. It's nearly like a Hans Gruber-esque fall.
Yeah. I was literally about to say the same thing.
But it works again just at the last second, and then he crashes into the banister like the banners across the poles, which swing them around, then through somebody's house.
Yeah, who's having dinner?
Yeah, ruins their dinner.
Head first into the wall and just keeps flying head first into the wall.
Yeah, then he drops down to the ground, turns it off, lands, and then Jamie's like, use your is turbo rang? I don't even know what they call it.
Yeah, the turbo rang, yeah.
Yeah, and he just fires that. Obviously, it misses, and you're just like, oh.
Now Myron has one hand.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a boomerang, so it hits him. Now Myron gets the doll here, and then it hits him in the head and knocks him down. But as he's falling, he's just holding onto it, and he's like, I got it. Thankfully, he doesn't splat onto the ground.
You get a real Smeagol moment.
Yeah.
My precious.
But like, thankfully, he lands on some sort of float, because if he falls and hits the ground,
He's dead.
He's dead. That's murder. Like, you just killed that guy.
I mean,
killed the guy.
Yeah, that escalated quickly.
But Jamie falls, and obviously he flies forward, and he's managed to gain control of the turbo pack, and catches him, and everything's great. They land back on the float, and everything seems happy. And then he just Jamie's like, I wish my dad could have been here to see this.
This is that real heart moment, isn't it? He's like,
yeah.
I give out to him on the phone. And he's like, you were in the right, kid.
Yeah. So he doesn't want to be here anymore. And he's like, no, you're his favorite person in the whole world. Well, how do you know that? And he's like, well, Jamie, because
who else would know better than me?
He takes off the helmet, and it's a good reveal, And then
it's a line that Jake Lloyd's character will use in the future.
Yeah.
I am your father.
I love it.
Define ironic.
I love well, he uses in the future, but in the past. Yeah. So back to the future, sort of thing. But I loved the wife's reaction. She's like,
Howie.
Oh, Howie. Oh.
You filmed the animal?
Yeah. You take that costume home?
Yeah, you're taking that home. And I loved, the kid next door. I can't remember what his name is. Like Ted's kid, and he's like, Ted shows up. Jamie. He's covered in it.
No, Jake.
Is it Jake? Ted shows up, and he's like, "What's going on here?" And he's like, "Jamie's dad is Turbo Man. Oh, let's get out of here."
He legs it.
As if he's not going to know. Like his wife's not going to tell him, and you live next door to the guy. The fact that
he gotta pummel you good.
The fact that he's Turbo Man now scares you, not the fact that he was a big 7 foot Terminator. I don't know, I'd probably have been pretty scared of him then anyway. But Myron's like getting taken off by the police, and Jamie, Spirit of Christmas and everything. I'll give him the doll and everything. Oh, I thought you really wanted that. Why would I need the doll? I got the real Turbo Man at home.
I mean, he's not taking that costume home, and if he is, it's only staying in your parents' bedroom, pal.
Well, I mean, who's gonna stop him? Yeah, who's stopping him taking it home?
What happens when the gas runs on the jetpack?
I mean, it doesn't even matter who's gonna stop him. That like walk down the street, nobody's stopping him.
No. I love how they all just pick him up, and it's just kind of
they just let him go. Yeah, all right, off you go then. But it's like as I said. Acting wise, not a great film. The story is, a very cliche.
Possible.
Yeah, it's a very cliche old story for this sort of thing. The film, as I said, I think 19%, and I do know what you were saying, Greg, there's a lot of discrepancies and stuff in it. I still think 19% is a little bit low. I think 40, like in and around the 40 mark is probably fair for this, because it is a kid's film, so you have to like a lot of that stuff kind of go. All that stuff happens in Christmas.
Well, anyway. Yourself, having looked at these over the last year. You know what I mean? They mark it down on stupid stuff as well.
Yeah, they do.
I didn't like that the kid always went, "Fuck off, pal."
Stop watching children's films, then. Like that's kind of the point of them. To teach you that lesson that the good always prevail and stuff.
In what kids' film does the kid not win? Really?
Yeah, it's very rare that it's not a happy ending.
Marley and Me, maybe.
Marley and Me isn't really a kids' film though.
It was branded as a kids' film when it came out.
Yeah, but
I'm sure there's one of those baseball films that they didn't win.
Yeah, but even when they don't win, the
Sandlot kids.
Sandlot, yeah.
Yeah, but like even when they don't win, the story is that don't worry about the fact that you didn't win. It's the fact that you tried. Like it's always going to be that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a kids' film. That's the story. But like I still enjoy it. And maybe it is nostalgia that makes me bump it up. But I would say like mid-30s to low 40s is probably a pretty fair one for this. I wouldn't be going any higher than that though. Definitely not.
No, it's not fresh.
No,
No.
A lot of it hasn't aged overly badly either, though.
No, it hasn't. And I mean, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, playing a kind of goofy dad. Yeah, it's a goofy dad. He's going to have to eventually get into some sort of altercation with someone, and he's going to win because he's Arnie,
I mean, Simba's a big guy as well in this.
Sinbad's a pretty big guy, yeah. You kind of forget how big he is.
He's a big old unit.
Yeah, I think the film's quite good. Like I enjoy it every time I watch it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't watch it all that often. I've probably watched it a couple of times over the last few years, and I'm always like, that'll do me for a couple of years. I'm not gonna watch it again.
once every 2 or 3 years. Like it's not a
it's not
a once a year thing.
It's not a staple.
It's not a Die Hard. It's not a Home Alone. It's not a Muppets Christmas Carol.
Not a Bad Santa. It's a different.
Klaus.
Can't be Klaus. Klaus is only a couple of years old. Carl.
Yeah.
Stop it. Show you as well.
It's only a couple of years old, but Klaus is now the staple.
No, it is very good. Arthur Christmas is another one that I think a lot of people don't like that much. I really like.
That's slept on a lot.
I only watched it for the first time last year.
I really enjoyed it when I seen it years ago, and people were like, "Oh, it's not that good." I was like, "This is deadly, lads. What are you talking about?"
I mean, essentially, Legend of the Guardian is another one. I know it's not fully a Christmas film, but it's got Santa in it.
It does, yeah. It's a bit. It probably is because it's held around that sort of time, like the whole Jack Frost and everything. But I wouldn't consider it a Christmas film in that sense either.
Christmas Chronicles was good too.
Yeah, there's a lot of great Christmas films out there, which we'll obviously cover. We have one more to cover that'll be covered next week on Christmas Day.
Anybody that knows, arguably, I'd say the three of us will know exactly what it is.
You should probably be able to guess what it's got to be. But
I mean, we did have a couple of references in here as well.
Yeah, but until then, good luck.